Cornell lampooned. So the distinction then, I think, in terms of correct originalism is between original meaning and original intention. The ideas of intention, history, context, properly inform the inquiry into original meaning. Okay. Objective meaning, and then the next step is that it's original meaning. Okay? That is basically, we attempt first to understand the meaning the words would have had at the time they were written to the audience to whom they were written as a defense against linguistic anachronism, right? We can't just change the meanings of words or let the meanings of words change, or we are basically abandoning the project of written constitutionalism. The words had a definite meaning, and if we just Humpty Dumpty-like bring our own meanings to them and change them over time, we're basically permitting a form of constitutional amendment. We might choose to do that in practice, but if the first task is to ascertain textual meaning, I think you have to start with the original meaning. History rightfully has a role in that. A number of years back, Vasan Kesavan and I wrote an article about what is the authoritative weight, what is the status of the records of the Constitutional Convention. Now, they were secret records, right? The drafting history was not made available to the ratifiers, but still, it is a wonderful concordance, operational description of what was the understanding of the meaning of the words and concepts that the framers were using at the time. History is relevant to discerning meaning. It tells you the context, it tells you what people's usages of the words meant, and it can illustrate many of the concepts for which otherwise the bare language would be ambiguous, and it's a good check against linguistic drift. Okay. So there is a role for history, and we do need to get better at it in terms of explicating textual meaning, but the object is not to understand specifically the history. The object is to use the history as evidence of the meaning of the words, because that's what we're supposedly interpreting as this authoritative written text. Further rules for explicating textual meaning. You have to look at the whole text. You look at arguments from structure, relationship of provisions. Ours is a system of separated powers that has certain implications. I think of structural arguments as basically a sophisticated form of textual arguments. It's the classic John Marshall method in Marbury versus Madison, McCulloch versus Maryland. They're sort of inferential textual arguments. Similarly, you look at the whole text in context. You do look at background assumptions and premises and conceptions. And finally, I think it is legitimate in terms of explicating the meaning of the Constitution to use sort of a deductive reasoning process. Now, there's a reason many of us are not in the hard science